we still doing commercials?
Are we live?
We're not live, but we're recording.
No. It depends on what you mean by live.
We need a red light in here.
Hold on.
I'm alive.
Right now we're live. Wait. This is live.
Yeah.
Right
What's
now.
happening right now is happening right now.
Yeah, but we're not on the net. Live means like broadcasting to you live. Like people.
Did you learn that in your extensive emceeing experience?
No, I learned it in my fucking experience as a human being.
The best experience.
Yeah.
It's the only kind of experience one could really ask for.
Live is like someone out there is in here with us.
Andres Aleman is sitting right behind.
For him,
Out of
it's live.
frame. Friend of the show.
We're not live. We're on.
Oh,
right
okay.
now, we're on in 5, 4.
No. We've been on for the last minute.
No,
Okay.
man. But right now we're on. We're not live. Being live is like, yo, no cutbacks. Because right now, if I say a bleep, you can cut me out. If I say the wrong
I
word.
don't do that shit.
Shit. You've never done that? Have you ever edited a podcast?
I remember a
Edited
few
something
times we were a little
No.
worried.
Never
I've
once.
never edited anything out of a
Jeez.
podcast.
Jesus
The only
Christ.
thing I like adjust volume, things like that, record an intro, but
Never.
we're raw, baby.
Yeah, well, in our original
Raw
couple
Baby?
podcasts,
Is that your DJ name, David?
Yeah, we're raw.
DJ Raw Baby?
on our first couple podcasts that didn't air via the podcast store that we recorded with
Young John P.
yeah,
JP.
JP, the rest of the gang, our old racist coach who no longer coaches here. He said some hard
There were
racist
some-
terms
Yeah.
and things that
And
we
he's
had
gone.
to blank out, and he's no longer with us. He has since passed.
Still a racist, probably, but.
Oh, man.
Wherever he is, he's
Alright.
definitely bright red and racist somewhere.
Are we doing commercials or are you going to do a commercial?
Hit me with your best commercial.
Oh. Hondo, do your knees hurt?
You know what? Not anymore.
Why is that?
Well, Lou sure is programming a lot of hippity, bumpity, bendity, knee slapping knee jerkers. But you know what, man? I was so inflamed yesterday.
Really? How inflamed were you?
So inflamed. I was a level 10 on the inflammation scale. Then I went home and I rubbed
noise
some.
have to do with your...
That's my inflammation noise, dude. This is audible, not visual.
Oh.
This is audio, not visual.
What the fuck is that for then?
Oh, is that fucking live?
No,
yeah.
dude. That can't
No,
be
we
live.
went over this. It's not live.
It's on.
It's
Okay,
on.
It's on, but it's not live.
So we're recording this. So this.
I'm doing a
podcast-
commercial, guys.
Okay, go back to your
I did. That was
balloon noise.
so. Oh man,
Auga.
auga! I was so inflamed, so I sat down and put on some CBD Medic.
Oh.
You know, thanks to Team Soul and code Soul10,
Yeah.
I got 10% off, so it was that much cheaper to take down the inflammation on my knees.
All
That's
right.
pretty complete.
That was good. I like it.
So you could do the same by going to CBD Medic and purchasing one of their wonderful CBD products made with real weed. And but the CBD kind, and 10% off by tell them the Soul and the gang sent you, and you'll get 10%
Tell
off.
Hondo sent you.
Tell them Big Hondo sent you and Durag Lou sent you, and they'll give you 10% off.
Yeah, that was good.
Any more commercials?
He shoots,
No, I
he
think that's
scores.
No.
We're good, right? That
I
was.
think that's it.
I like that one. Yeah.
I like our live wait, not live. I
Our
like
on
our
commercials.
on-camera commercials.
Digging it.
What else are we talking? Oh, we have a celebration today.
Oh yeah, we do.
Big Lupus graduated from the whole 30 camp.
Wait.
He's got 31
Soul
days
Do I
sober.
lose my white chip?
No, you keep your white chip. We give you a 30-day chip.
Yeah. Your white chip is day one.
Day one.
Oh, okay.
The
So I got
international
30
sign
day
of
chip.
surrender.
But then I gotta give that up once I have.
You don't have to
keep
give
it,
it up.
dude. You wear
Cheese.
If you relapse,
If I
you don't have to give
relapse is
away
a
your
harsh
worship.
term for eating legumes.
No. I like how you said legumes.
Cheese, dairy.
You're
Can't have
relapsing.
dairy.
It's a relapse.
It's a relapse. It was a problem, Lou. We discussed this.
It's a okay.
It
Yeah.
is a relapse.
Damn
It
it.
is.
Well, moment of silence for the brother Lou. And we're back. Lou did 31 days, whole 31.
Well, today's day 31. We gotta
Day
get through
31.
today.
We got to get through today.
I'm getting.
You got through yesterday,
We're
and that
getting
was the
through it.
biggest one.
So you don't have to give back your chip or your key tag or whatever. You keep it, and
Okay.
then you just get another one. And if you relapse, you don't give it back. You come
Oh,
back
you
and
never
you
give
get
those
another.
back?
No.
You just collect them.
So you
forever.
could have a whole bunch of white chips.
Yeah, there
Oh,
are
shit.
people who have a whole bunch of white chips or white key tags.
That's kind of dope.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
kind of dope, man. So, you did it. How do you feel?
Good. I feel
Less
good.
inflamed?
Auga.
That's how you were before. You were like Kirby.
Oh shit.
You're
Less
Coach
inflamed.
Kirby.
Definitely less inflamed. Thanks to my wonderful sponsor.
Yep.
Did you work the steps? You worked all of them?
Dude, I've done them all.
All
In
the
30
steps,
days?
brother.
I've done all the stuff.
Dude, this
Did your
is
amends?
I'm a
you,
step master.
you surrender to a higher power in this diet.
Yeah.
The whole 30 diet is a diet of the Lord.
Well,
You want to know why? Because it's things that only put on this God's green earth for us, brother. If it walks, if it talks, and
Wait, what?
if it grows,
if there's
If it talks?
if there's grass on the field,
then play ball, brother.
Eat it up.
Then play ball.
Play ball.
Yep. So
Yeah, dude.
yeah.
You sponsored me through it. You shepherded me.
Yeah, I'm the
That's
Lord,
not a
and
word.
you are my shepherd.
Shepherded?
shepherded.
I don't know.
If
Is
I'm-
it?
No,
You're the
Okay.
sheep.
you're the shepherd.
I'm your
Uh-huh.
But
shepherd.
you
And
don't
so what did he
shepherd
do
their-
for me? If he's the shepherd, what does he do?
He cares for you.
He
Yeah.
shepherds.
He shepherds, but
He
you can't
shepherded
say
me.
he shepherded.
You sure?
I'm not.
No, you don't. We
Don't
don't.
you just
we
heard?
don't use that term.
Don't you just heard?
Yeah.
Oh, you
You
heard,
heard,
it.
yeah.
The shepherd.
I heard it
And now
through the
you're-
grapevine. Man, who else misses the California raisins?
Oh
Dude,
my god.
they were sick.
Yo.
Saturday morning cartoons.
Oh.
Yeah, I have their album, and
You're
it's
right.
just covers of like the Temptations, the Four Tops, all the greats. And the song "I Heard It Through the Grapevine" is one of their songs. They put out a video.
Did you really have that CD?
I have the vinyl. I got it at Goodwill for $1. Best dollar I ever spent.
Good
Next to my
combo.
Elvis flip book, which is one of the second best dollars I ever
You
spent.
buy so many weird things.
Dude, I like
Good
shit.
stuff though.
Yeah, I go around and I buy shit, dude. I go to garage sales and I buy the things that no one would fucking want.
Like
But
the
it's-
California Raisins record.
Gold, golden,
Golden Raisins.
golden raisins.
Okay.
My Elvis flip book. You guys need to come over and check out my Elvis flip book. We ought to make flip books for our fucking team. King Louis snatching.
Are those the ones that you
Fucking
like
Danny
thumb through real
benching,
fast
yeah.
and it animates? Okay.
A few good reps, a few good men. That's us.
That's
That's
a really
us.
good movie, dude.
Holy shit, dude.
That was with Tom Cruise, right?
This is a wild fucking beginning to this
I
podcast.
love this.
It's not
video.
that wild.
No,
We've
it's
gone
good.
pretty wild
Dude,
before.
California Raisins wild?
Here's a wild one, wasn't there? Oh, we wanted to talk about Jason Khalipa being a robot.
Oh, Hondo has a story about this.
Okay, Sunday morning, Waterpalooza. We're 3 days in on the event. We're about to begin the first heats. Then the rain comes slamming down, punishing the whole event. I walk into the vendor's village to see Jason Khalipa sitting at the NC booth, all alone, laying on the table with his fucking eyes open. I walk over and I'm like, Jason, what's up, brother? Right? Like, you know, we're on a brother basis. And I'm like, what's up, brother? And he's laying there like that with his arms open, saying, M-rap mentality, M-rap mentality. I'm like, are you okay? M-rap mentality. I'm like, Jason. I touch him, feel shock. Like, what the fuck is going on? He goes, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. AMRAP mentality, AMRAP mentality. I'm like, brother, are you okay? Now, sweet baby Dylan Militsky and Chief Keef himself, Matt O'Keefe, come running in with the other Wadapalooza head staff telling me to man my station. Man your station, MC. I'm like, yo, I'm just trying to talk to Jason. I'm here at the NC booth. What's going on? And they're like, man your station. And then they're kicking everyone out of the venue, right? Now, everyone thinks it's because of the rain. I might have a different story. Now, what if Jason Khalipa cloned himself? He has an army of robot Khalipas. You see, he wasn't at the NC booth doing the Bird Box tests. Okay? He's somewhere else controlling the clone robots. And that rain clearly shorted his circuit. So he's laying there, AMRAP mentality, AMRAP mentality. He goes, nice to meet you. Comfortable with being uncomfortable. NC. And I'm like, what the fuck? These guys come running, kick me the fuck out, kick everyone the fuck out. They put one of those plastic ponchos over his head, carried him away in a bag. 20 minutes later, I see him wearing the same fucking clothes, and he says, nice to meet you. And I'm like, holy shit, dude.
Oh my god.
What the fucking hell is going on? And Matt O'Keefe came up to me later, whispered in my ear, don't you repeat what you said. Don't you repeat what you said here. They clearly reset him, right? Sent him back later that afternoon, recharged, and swiped his memory card clean.
I believe it.
Thoughts?
I believe it.
The only thing is that clip gonna fit on Instagram. Is
I
the only thing
hope so.
Wow.
What other explanation would it be for that? That did happen. There's not a. I'm not asking. This happened.
Hondo does not exaggerate.
They said it was an
there's no
electrical
exaggeration.
storm, right?
There's no exaggeration.
It was an electrical storm.
Oh,
It definitely was.
okay.
An electrical storm.
Let's not get into things that the government has clearly lied to us about. They obviously control the weather
And the birds.
and the birds.
Since the government shutdown ended, there's been a lot more birds out there. Just
Joshy,
want to
you
point
hear
that
that?
out. Or Lou.
Yeah.
Lou doesn't believe in any of that shit.
No. We brought this up last time. We know that birds are real. It's pigeons that are government surveillance drones.
Yeah, okay. I'm in.
Yeah. They're extraterrestrial biological entities kind of deal. They're recording through them directly to the grid. Which, let's not even get started on the grid.
Oh boy.
So,
Hey.
yeah.
Lou, you're listening to an audiobook now, aren't you?
Yeah.
What are you listening to?
The Stand by Stephen King.
What's it about?
We're gonna do books.
Why not?
Lou's book review.
Yeah.
This
Just want to know what you're listening
Uncle
to.
Lou's book corner.
I just finished reading a book last night as well.
Nobody cares about reading.
What?
We all care about listening.
There's-
We're on an audio podcast here.
I love that
so
you're
I
right now do-rag talking about books right now. Go ahead.
What does my headgear have to do with my reading
Oh,
habits?
Lou Reed. Boom! It just hit me right now.
Read.
Lou Reed. Like, get it?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Like,
Velvet Underground, got it.
Lou Reed. Me.
You really like that, huh?
Yeah. Fuck, dude.
So what's your book about?
Okay, so I read. I'm always reading a book.
Lou Reed.
So
Manny book.
I love that there's
Wow.
videos of this
Podcast
now.
I know,
having
this
the
is- this is-
heaviest start.
So I was listening to an audiobook, Stephen King. It's an old book called The Stand. I think they did like a mini series on it.
They did.
And it's like a post-apocalyptic flu bug destroys the world sort of thing.
Like measles in Oregon right now. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, vaccinate your children. So that's what I was listening to.
Okay.
And I was reading a book called The Golden Spruce.
The best kind of spruce.
Huh?
It's the best kind of spruce.
So it's the only kind.
Yeah.
That's not true. It's about like the logging industry and some like
Oof.
eco-terrorist that like
Great industry.
chainsawed this golden tree down that like was like a religious symbol for Indians. Really good book.
10
Yeah,
out of
that's
10,
it.
highly recommend.
Are we gonna do a loose book review
Are
section?
we going
I'll come
somewhere with
prepared.
this?
No,
Did you make this
I'm
for
just-
some reason?
No.
Oh.
What are you listening to?
Nothing.
No books, no podcasts?
Yeah,
no-
I listen to Axe to Grind podcast pretty much on repeat. It's a hardcore podcast. I do 2 shows a week. I'm not reading anything right now. That
Does Danny read?
Danny read. Danny does read, but not right now. I'm not reading anything.
Big Honda? You listen to anything?
Just
Obviously, the Orvis Fly Fishing podcast.
How is the fly fishing game going?
It's going. It's really bad time now. I mean, it's just windy and miserable outside. I haven't been able to really go out and fish. But I pretend like I
been
just
so
like,
cold.
fantasize about fishing all day long.
You're going tomorrow, yes?
see if you live
Yeah.
somewhere colder, you could ice fish.
Oh, it's on right now. The
It's on
trout
right
fishing
now.
is big time
down
on in
here-
the Carolinas and Virginia.
Right now, with how cold it is.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's when
Some
you want to.
sick ice fishing videos on Instagram.
Not just
right now.
ice fishing, but like when it's like, you know, January, February, March.
Down here, we got nothing right now.
No, but it's gonna start warming up.
It'll
and
start,
it's back
yeah.
on. Right now, the sea trout are biting.
Ooh.
Snook and tarpon are starting to come back. And then you gotta dig deep for the cold water bass. But
You gotta send it.
you gotta send it. Now, you know, the Spawn comes along, early spring.
It's a good movie.
It's not that good of a
Another
movie.
Stephen
Not
King
really.
original. And yeah, I'm also reading a book.
Okay. Not a flip book?
No, it's called The Corporation.
It's about Triple H.
It's about when The
Undertaker.
Rock moved from the Nation of Domination to the corporation and started using the corporate eyebrow, corporate elbow, etc. One of the best times for it's during
In the
Attitude
history of
Era.
America,
Yeah,
basically.
one of the best times in the history of America. It's actually about Cuba and how the mob ruled Cuba, and then after Castro took over, where the mob went, where all those guys ended up.
Meyer Lansky.
Yeah. Well, the first book, I forget what the fucking name is all about Meyer Lansky and Lucky Luciano and all those dudes and how they rigged Cuba and how all that stuff happened.
All the casinos and shit.
Yeah. And then the second book is called The Corporation. First one's called Havana Nocturne. And it's worth reading. I mean, dude, it directly has affected our lives. I mean, it's the reason why we're here and the reason why Miami is what it is. And it's pretty cool to see. Everyone knows that story.
Yeah.
You know, what was going on in Cuba, Batista, whatever, Castro overthrew it. But it shows the intricacies of it. And I think it's going to get picked up for a movie.
Oh wow.
It's
that'd be cool.
it's a story worth telling.
There's never been a good like Fidel movie.
Oh,
or
right.
Cuba mob movie. They like touch on it in
Godfather.
maybe Casino or one of those.
They talk
Al
about
Pacino.
those
Robert De Niro
guys
movies.
being in Cuba and The
Yeah.
Godfather and certain things. In what's the show from Scorsese about Prohibition?
The one on HBO.
Boardwalk?
Yeah,
Boardwalk Empire. Towards the end of it, all those guys, Meyer Lansky's in it.
Oh really?
Yeah, Lucky
Wow.
Luciano, all those
Kind of
guys
makes
are
me
in
want
it.
to watch that show.
It's really good. And they
I
end up
started
going to
watching
Cuba, and the book starts there.
Yeah.
And man, I didn't know like the details of it. It's really cool.
Yeah, come to think about it, there's not much on the like Cuba organized crime thing.
There's a
Yeah.
fuck ton of documentaries. but there's
Documentaries,
no
yeah.
movies.
There's no movies. There's not really like
This book, dude, if
There's
you,
Scarface.
I'll
that's
lend it to you guys. It's,
mainstream
Yeah.
TV.
this book is
documentary-ish
fucking
stuff
beautifully written. It's really interesting, especially for me. I'm a Cuban American, and like our grandfather was like directly involved with a lot of the inner workings of some of that stuff. And anybody who, I mean, we're first generation Cuban Americans.
There's not a
born here.
good Che movie either.
No.
There's the movie when he was a kid riding motorcycles through like Argentina or some shit like that.
I don't know.
Motorcycle Diaries, I think it's called. But besides that, they never did one. About
Is that
one
the
other.
Diaries of a Strong Black Woman or whatever?
Is that a Tyler Perry movie? What the fuck are you talking about?
Medea's?
Whatever, man. It loved me.
Whatever, man. That was a cool little question.
Yeah.
Did you plan that, or you just?
Playing that.
Oh, okay.
I feel like you got to read more to be better
Yeah.
prepared.
Now I gotta prepare
I'm
a
reading
couple
that.
book reports. Put it on the spot.
Book
I
report.
listen. I like infrequently will listen to Hardcore History. They just,
I have not listened to Hardcore
they just put
History
out a
in
new
while.
episode.
Yeah.
I actually just unsubscribed to it because I listen to it way too much.
Dan
of it.
Carlin is awesome.
I know.
And you could listen to those podcasts and be a history major.
And they're basically audiobooks. So like
Yeah.
5 hours long.
They
Yeah.
are.
It takes me weeks
They
to listen to
absolutely
them.
are.
Any of those long ass podcasts, it takes me. I listen to it.
I mean,
in
dude,
7
already a Joe Rogan.
I stay
episode
away
takes
from
me a week.
listening to Joe Rogan episodes
Takes
just
me
because
a
of how
week.
long they are.
Well,
I'll go on
dude,
YouTube and just look
I
at
go
the
to
JRE
JRE
clips.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's different.
And that's where I get all the
Those-
highlights.
Those hardcore history things are
you got to
a little
listen to the
different.
whole
They
thing.
take
Yeah.
like 2 weeks, and the problem I love Hardcore History and his other show Common Sense,
Yeah.
but the problem with those is that it takes a lot of work and a lot of time, and if you really want to like give it attention, it's not background music.
no,
No.
yeah.
Rogan's is background shit,
Yeah.
but if you really want to take it in, dude, you got to like sit there and listen to it.
If you walk away for a minute, you'll have no idea what he's talking
no,
about.
like Wrath of the Khan, you got to like sit.
That
and
is
What a
such a
fucking-
good
such a
series,
good
though.
series.
Wow.
It's really fucking good.
The one that he's doing now, I forgot what it's called. But
He speaks so well, dude. Like,
it's just poetic, dude.
Yeah.
He's a poet.
I had a professor at Miami-Dade that was just like that. People would sign up for his class just to hear him speak. He was a history professor. And he had no books, and there was just note-taking, and he would sit in front of the class and tell stories for 2 hours. So
Sick.
good. Yeah. It was very much like Dan Carlin.
George Carlin's another one of the greats.
I saw him before he died. Like, right before he died.
That's
Fun
pretty
fact.
cool.
At the NA World Convention
Oh shit.
in
You
Texas.
went to Worlds?
I went to the World Convention.
No, just call it Worlds.
I went
Sounds
to Worlds in San Antonio.
Why isn't that on your IG profile?
I was kicked out of the Alamo
Why isn't that?
Why
on your
were you
IG
kicked out of the
profile?
Alamo?
for wearing a band shirt.
A shitstorm shirt.
I was
right?
wearing a shitstorm shirt.
What did it have on it?
Just said shitstorm.
That's it.
Said shitstorm and
And a bunch of like stuff you can't even tell what it is.
I think it was like a dog's mouth, like an open dog's mouth, just like in black and white, or maybe it was like shark teeth, with
Yeah.
teeth of like a shark or
That is so crazy.
yeah. And
When
it
did
said
that
shitstorm
happen?
in almost illegible like black metal, death metal font.
What year was that?
2008.
8,
It's
9.
not that long ago.
2008
and
or
I feel like
2009.
now you could wear a shitstorm shirt anywhere.
I didn't even get in. I was in line, and this fucking gnarly,
Dude.
giant white dude who was like a park ranger type was like, "Can't walk in here with that shirt. You're gonna have to turn inside out." And I was like, "Fuck you," and I turned around, walked away. And everyone I was with was like, "Just take your shirt inside out," and I had like a bad attitude, and I was like, "Fuck that guy. I don't give a shit
So
about
they,
this."
they
thing."
all went and walked and like.
Oh,
walked in.
then everybody left.
Damn, you made
Damn,
everyone miss
you're
the
a
Alamo.
dick.
Yeah.
I've never really heard a good story about the fucking Alamo anyway.
I got a good story about
There's
the
a good story.
Alamo.
Ozzy
Osbourne took
That's
a
good
piss on
story.
it.
Yeah.
So I
That's the
took a
best
piss
story.
in front of the Alamo,
That's better than the actual
flicking
Alamo
off
story,
the
right?
camera.
Yeah.
Probably.
You wouldn't be talking about the Alamo right now.
If it wasn't for Ozzy.
If it
No, if it wasn't
Ozzy.
for like
Saving the Alamo? Or whatever happened there?
what fucking happened at the Alamo?
I don't know. Remember the Alamo.
Mexicans and Americans.
Yeah.
It was like Indians and Americans fighting over the territory of
Mexicans,
Mexico.
right? Not
Who knows? Let's just say who knows.
Mexican, like, Indians.
Let's agree to disagree.
Whatever.
All right.
Let's agree. That's
What's on the agenda for today, boys?
First thing. Okay. So we've talked a lot about changes to the CrossFit Games season. That, I feel, just like all things CrossFit related, is what, like, takes the focus from all conversations about CrossFit. People only talk about the competitive side. And something that I feel has gone under the radar a lot is the changes that they've made to CrossFit.com. I subscribe to CrossFit.com, and I have always looked at every single workout of the day historically. Like forever, since like I learned how to set up an RSS feed. I've subscribed to workouts at CrossFit.com before they even like had a subscription service.
Did they take off the words "Forging Elite Fitness" on there?
I don't know.
Or is
that's
it,
a good question. David can look that up.
Right, because that's like, I feel like they're trying to get away from that idea now.
So
like the people will die for points, fittest on earth stuff.
That for sure they're trying to get away from.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it actually does not say Forging Elite. It just says CrossFit.
Huh.
So as a CrossFit coach, if you
So why don't we say what's been happening on the site first?
As
I
a
think you're getting there.
yeah,
Right?
as any kind of a CrossFit coach, but as someone who coaches quote unquote elite or like sport of fitness,
Competitive.
I think it's important to look at .com because they drop now. There's for sure not a method to how Dave used to, and sometimes how Greg and some other people do program design, but there's still hints and there's still like themes and things to pick up on. So I've always looked at it, and every year they do some triple unders, and they'll have some pegboard, and they'll like drop some hints in there.
They'll refer, so like at the games, they'll refer to like the original journal articles as like, oh, you guys weren't paying attention to this article we wrote in 2000.
Yeah, and like they'll do like med ball cleans, which are one of like the foundational movements, but they'll do it with like a 150-pound D-ball instead of a 8-pound medicine ball. But I think it's important to like know what's happening with them, and that should be a reflection on some elements of your program design, whether you're coaching elite athletes or you're just like general population guy at your gym. And right around the new year, it changed.
On New Year's Day.
Yeah.
It changed.
So they got rid of the old website. That was probably like 3 years ago.
Yeah, a couple years
ago. It went from being like that old, bloggy, khaki and gray site with all the long list of affiliates on the left, with the military affiliates on it, and like all the old stuff, which I was super nostalgic.
The original.com.
Yeah. They changed it to this like big, flashy, red and black, very like Reebok looking website. And I didn't like that. I never liked that website. Even to this day, I didn't like that website. They changed it again, and it is like the most bare bones, stripped down, simple. It's
white
all,
background, black text.
Yeah, it's all white and black. So that changed. That was the first thing that stood out. Secondly, the workouts changed tremendously.
The workouts and like the actual content.
Yeah.
The pictures, the articles, all of it.
Even like the amount of classical music posts that are going up on there and talking about different composers, and like it's changed in a really, really, really big way. I don't know who's doing it. There's some rumors that it's like all Greg doing it. But the first thing that stood out is like how much the workouts have changed tremendously. I think they've kind of changed again a little bit.
They're starting to like ramp up
the intensity a little bit.
And like exposing people to more like of the classical CrossFit stuff. But for the first, I think 24 days of the year, 25 days of the year, it was some weird.
Yeah.
So it was. Yeah, it was
the jug lifting.
Yeah, jug lifting.
Very basic, strict gymnastics with like 1,000-meter row.
Yeah. L-sits, very low rep, low volume, low intensity, legless rope climbs. They had like, I remember they did, was it bar, which is one with sit-ups in it?
It was like slow controlled ab mat sit-ups.
No, it wasn't Annie.
And rope climbs or something?
Something like that. Like,
they
did Cindy with honest push-ups instead of push-ups, slow and controlled ab mat sit-ups instead of sit-ups.
No momentum, hip extensions.
Yeah, which is not bad stuff. It's not terrible stuff to feature in like a balanced program design, but it definitely like centered around stuff like that, which is a very big difference for CrossFit. It was almost like a deload, which CrossFit.com has never done. Which, honestly, they don't have to do. CrossFit.com, even for class purposes, and I know that there's gyms and people that say that they only follow CrossFit.com, it's not a very complete program.
So,
it's not a bad program, and you can definitely take elements of it, but it's not .com.
Well, what would you
make
do
enough
if you're
progress.
following CrossFit.com in the gym and jug rows comes up?
Well, I don't think they actually put jug rows in there.
They haven't programmed them for like their main site workout of the day.
We should explain the whole jug row thing before we keep talking about it.
Jug deadlifts.
But there is like videos and movements and things like that where they explain it with the jugs in the new living room
So
studio.
what is the jug?
So the jug thing is this. They apparently...
Jug season.
What up? What up?
I see you, jug season.
They
Represent.
gutted out the update studio. So where Tommy Marquez and Sean Woodland, Pat Sherwood, and all these guys...
And they made it a living room.
Yeah, they turned it
looks
into
like
what they're calling...
The Brady Bunch living room.
It looks like Al Bundy's living
They're
room.
giving it
Yeah.
a name. It's like Grandpa's dining room or Grandpa's living quarters or some shit. They completely gutted it, changed it, and redesigned it.
Couch, table, chair.
Backgammon.
To look
Yeah,
like
there's the game of backgammon.
a living room from the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like an old man's living room, and there's an old man in the living room, and they're shooting all the content with this old man doing exercises.
Does
Like
anyone know who
burpees.
the old man is?
I don't.
I wonder if it's like
Someone's
Pat
someone's
Sherwood
dad, right?
and like makeup.
Dude, for the
That'd be
games, at the games,
Like
the
when
old
Kenny
man's gonna
Leverage
take
went.
his mask off.
like in Wayne's World.
Yeah.
It's like when Kenny Leverage went to Muscle Beach.
Yeah.
He's gonna take the mask off and it's gonna be Dave Castro.
Yeah. It was me! Like the album.
People run out on the CrossFit Games floor and it's just jugs out there.
So they were doing like WOD demos and just different exercise
With
demos.
a jug that looked like it was filled with
Antifreeze or like Windex. Like,
Yeah.
like giant, probably like...
So they're water jugs
Yeah.
that you can buy, and you can fill them up to different weights. And I was listening or reading something, and they said that when they filled it up with water, you couldn't tell that they were full of anything. So that's why they added blue food coloring. So now
yeah,
it
they
looks
look like
fucking
antifreeze or
Windex.
Windex. And it's this old dude doing deadlifts, presses.
Single arm rows. Does
Yeah.
the CrossFit Total.
He does the CrossFit Total with them.
He does an L-sit in a chair.
Yep, he's doing push-ups, he's doing burpees, etc., etc. Which honestly is all good stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's bad at all. I think though, and look, this is coming from someone that like I have coached a lot of competitors in the past. I think CrossFit was too elite centered, but now it's like going in the complete opposite direction. They fired everyone. They redid the update studio. They rebranded. Now everything is going way towards this fighting chronic disease nursing home direction. And I just think it's too much the opposite direction.
Well, here's what like I'm wondering. When they made these changes, Glassman said it was time to like help affiliates more and focus on health.
Mhm.
How does that help affiliates?
I don't know.
And secondly, like if you stumbled onto CrossFit now, would you be interested in
Nope.
that?
No. Hell no. So, I said this when I was interviewed on Armin's video, and there were some
of the
people...
show.
I'm sorry?
Friend of the
Friend
show.
of the show, Armin Hammer. There were people...
That's not his real name, right?
No.
It's not. Barman is his real name. Hammer is
Yeah,
not
yeah,
his
yeah.
last name.
There were people who were, like, kind of talking shit to me. I don't remember if it was Instagram or YouTube, because I said, like, look, we just have never had... Except us, like, reaching out to some of our homies, like our boy John McHale and David's private client, like, we have sick friends. Alejandro was sick. My dad was sick. My mom was sick.
SIQ.
There's people, like, David reached out to his dad. Like, there's people that we've, like, reached out to touch and grab them to bring them in here. But we've never had, like, a ton of chronically ill, sick people
Walk in
and say like, hey, I need help. And some of the responses were like, well, you've never gone out to look for them. And that's true. We haven't. But I think a lot of that is a reflection on like how elite CrossFit was. I don't necessarily think that this is going to fix that problem. I don't see that like putting a video of a grandfather doing bent over rows with jugs is really going to drive some of those folks to come to the doors of our gym.
Right. Well, how does that even get to that type of consumer? Like,
So here's what people have
My,
challenged me.
my
and said-
grandma's not like cruising the
Checking
west.
CrossFit.
So that's been my response because a few people have challenged me and said, well, when they see something like this, now they know that like it's attainable in CrossFit.
Yeah, but how does that help somebody who's like what? Like you were saying, I was sick. Yeah, I was fucking 400 pounds. Was a tub of ass and didn't fucking move. And then, you know, I was about to get like gastric bypass surgery. You're like, hey, dude, why don't you try moving for once?
Yeah.
And I found that this was a place that everyone could do things. That everyone, like, we have that small group element provides a class, whether you're a beginner or whether you're advanced, and we all fit under that umbrella together. But showing like grandma lifting a water jug is
you're limiting it to.
Well,
like,
grandma's
when you
probably not gonna look at CrossFit.com
Exactly.
to start
Dude,
with.
my grandma's still forwarding like chain letter email.
Yeah.
well, the guy who's okay.
She doesn't know what anything else
No,
besides
use you as an
AOL.com
example.
is.
When you weighed that much, would you have seen that on the site, like an old man lifting jugs, and be like, "That inspires me to get in shape"? No, not at all.
I think more testimonial videos of people who have lost a ton of weight, people who have found health.
Which they did some
They
of that.
do that.
Yeah,
as
but
well.
I think like keeping in that direction was a great direction.
Yeah.
You know?
The killing the fat man stuff they did.
Yeah, but showing
The commercials they play at regionals, the commercials they play
Yeah.
on CBS.
that's a very limiting, like, piece of content.
Yeah.
To me, and it goes against everything. I know, like we're saying, like CrossFit for a long time, like centered around the elite athlete, but even before there was an elite athlete, they center around intensity and like working hard, and that is what got people hooked.
Evidence-based fitness.
And that was
the
all
intensity being a common
Glassman
variable.
driving that.
You didn't
Yeah.
get hooked because you saw somebody, like some ripped dude with his shirt off. You got hooked when you tried your workout and it left you on your ass. Like,
Yeah.
He talks about that himself. Like, he's always talked about how like guys will kill themselves for points, and like the whole thing now goes very much against what attracted people to it in the first place, and what he even admits attracted people to it in the first place.
Yeah.
It's a
Did
really
they
weird
fire
transition.
Pukey the Clown?
I don't know. Hopefully. See, like,
That's what I'm talking about. Like the whole dying for points, and they had this mascot that was a clown throwing up into a garbage can, and then hooked up to the like dialysis machine because he had rhabdo.
I always thought that was a weird image.
I think
Yeah.
that's
Very
whack.
weird.
And I think the culture of taking pictures of your ripped hands and taking pictures of your shin injuries and saying how fucked up you are and bragging about how injured you are. I think
You're
that
not a David Goggins fan?
no, not at all. I'm actually not. We talked about this yesterday. I'm not a David Goggins fan at all. I'm not a fan in the compete everyday model. I don't think you should do that to yourself
Yeah,
at all.
whatever gets people motivated, but not when you're hurting yourself.
No, not when
That's
you're
like-
running so much that like you're breaking all the
No.
bones in your body. Like I don't think you should push beyond the mental barrier. Like I don't. That's not my philosophy in life or training at all.
That stuff that's published in like the L1 book, all about how to explain CrossFit and how, you know, like you were saying, intensity is a variable. Intensity, I mean, for you is different than for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for grandma and grandpa with the jug
Right.
is different than for us. But
That's
just
a good point.
showing that, I don't know who that really motivates.
So that's a
you
good
know?
point. Like, intensity is variable for everyone,
Yeah.
and the model has always been they program it for the top and you scale it down, and it seems
Yeah.
like now they're programming for the bottom, and you're gonna have to scale up the intensity
Right.
somehow.
Which is
to
a
me
weird
is
image.
Very
to-
weird.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
we do a really good job of, I think, catering to both. Look at our 9 a.m. class.
yeah.
Like, we have your mom,
There's a
we
lot
have
of
Susan
things to
Fowler's, and then we'll have a Maggie or a Will or some of our like more competitive people jump into the same class, and
And everyone in
we
between.
yeah, and everybody in between.
And everyone still has stuff that they can't do, whether it be muscle ups. Like even like the most elite person has stuff that we need to make adjustments for.
Yeah.
And that's what your program should reflect. Is like a style of fitness that is non-intimidating and approachable and attainable for anyone of all levels.
It's not always a scale down. It's just you're modifying to fit goals.
That's why I
physical
never really liked the
limitations.
model of like having a competitor's class. I feel like it like alienates people. I like our like open gym model for people who I don't want to call them competitors because they're not all competitors. They're not all competitive, but people who just want to do more. We have some like quote unquote general population people that are more skilled than others at certain areas. we have general population folks that were cross-country athletes, that ran track or that competed in track and field, that were gymnasts, that were martial artists, that are more skilled in certain areas than some of our competitors.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have some that have a way higher pain threshold. I use someone like a Laura Lynch as an example, who has like a really high mental threshold for pain. She's not like the most skilled or strongest, but she has like a really high threshold for pain. Kat DeCray, also another one who has like a really high threshold for pain. Maddie, who's kind of like in between classes in TSTs, also really high threshold for pain, higher than some of our competitors have. You know, and if you have like a competitors class, I feel like it alienates a lot of people out of that. But I don't know, man. Like
there's also been, with this whole like rebrand and rechange and going to this completely different route, there hasn't been a journal entry.
Yeah, that's
since
got rid of the
Christmas Day.
Yeah,
there hasn't been
a podcast.
A podcast out of HQ since I think right before Christmas.
What was that last journal entry?
I have no idea, to be honest.
I don't know either.
But they would put out stuff in the they would put out 2 to 3 articles in the journal, and that was a subscription-based service for some things. And then all of a sudden,
it's gone.
It's gone.
Now
and
it's
what's
all
your
the
subscription
morning choco.
for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seriously, now you have to get everything from the morning choco. Which I understand. Look, same thing I told everyone when all these changes happened. You have to really understand Glassman, and you have to understand the history of CrossFit HQ to understand how and why this happened and project into the future of like what some of the potential changes could be. He is a huge libertarian. He's a huge free market guy. And it seems like right now he's like really pushing that envelope heavily and wanting to let all of the event planners from all the different sectionals just like let them do what they're going to do and let them shake it out, and may the best ones win. He used to say that about gyms.
Yeah.
That like he didn't want to control what gyms are doing, and he didn't want to oversee gyms, and he didn't want to have rules for gyms, and may the best one win. And I feel like he's now trying that approach with the media and also with some of these
like
events.
Letting the community put out the
this fucking
and
Team Richie guy, smash that like button, smash that like button, smash that like button. Like, they're letting that dude interview whoever he wants, go to whatever event he wants, and cover whatever he wants. Armin is doing the same thing. Armin was invited to HQ and shot at HQ. This morning chalk up guy, for whatever reason, that's one of the people that Glassman has chosen to like disseminate some of his information to people. That Girls Gone Wild. It's very random sources of
Girls
media.
Gone Wad.
Girls Gone Wild podcast. That's where Glassman, I think,
that
was like
done
the
his
original
only podcast.
Yeah, right.
So far,
He hasn't done another one.
no, and just,
He would go on the CrossFit podcast every now and then.
No, but since he released that information
Yeah.
about how regionals
super
was gonna look-
random sources of people
Girls
that
Gone
really don't have
Wild.
like.
Yeah.
They chose ones that didn't necessarily have the biggest following, and you know. Now these changes have made, and he's my homie, has made someone like Armin way more relevant. So good for him.
Made some smaller events bigger in this space, right? Like,
so that's there are some positives, but I am not behind everything because I don't like I want to see the dots connected. I want to see like the plan to fruition and see what this big master plan is. And I'm not sold that they really have one, to be totally honest with you. Yeah, I mean, look at like the fucking ghetto bobo ass post they just made on CrossFit Games speaking about the Open. Like with that, like the branding on that, they would never have posted that in the past. That like black and white blocky, the Open will be different. Yeah, 19.1. Like, come on, man. Again, it doesn't have to be all about the Open.
How do you think it's gonna be different?
I think the workouts will probably be very, 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 very different. Glassman said, and I think he was quoted in the chalk up, that Dave is still going to be involved in some capacity, but Dave will be executing Greg's vision.
And I think he says everyone knows what my biases are.
Yeah.
Which is, he's always talked strict
gymnastics.
Which,
and if you look at,
God, I hope it's not that.
then if you look at main site, it's now strict gymnastics. our program is that is one of the foundations of our training
Yeah.
program, our method for general population and for competitors.
I don't think that would be bad for our athletes. I think that
It would be. I think it would be bad for our
judge.
athlete. Yeah, exactly, because it's fucking terrible to judge, and I don't think that is. It's just hard to judge them in like
it's
the
competitive atmosphere.
I mean, they had right Hero Nate a couple years
Regional
ago.
Nate.
regionals,
Regional Nate.
strict muscle ups.
Strict muscle ups. That was
Impossible.
so
to judge.
crazy to judge.
And I don't think they've done
And if
strict
you
muscle ups
watch
again.
any heat, I mean, everyone was performing them differently. There was people getting away with a lot more movement than
RIP
others.
regionals.
I mean, even some gymnastics, non-strict, like kipping ring muscle ups, are really hard to judge. You know, judging is hard enough in many areas as it is, and I think that complicates it. So, I don't know. Those are those things that like I'm really unsure about, and I hope that Greg has people in his corner that have that experience. And I hate to say this, he does not. He does not have that experience, at least not for the last.
Well, you would
Fucking
think
8
Castro
years.
has that experience. He just
He
does.
does.
Don't know if he's leaning on him like he used to.
Yeah, I don't know. I just so like the shroud of secrecy is very frustrating for a gym owner, and it's very I don't think that they're thinking about the trickle down that all of this secrecy and all of these changes, like the implications they have on
Sure.
like the little guys, which are us. Like, do they know that we already have to plan how we have over 300 clients here in this gym? Are they considering that we have to plan our order of operations for the open here? Like, we don't make the open the end all be all of everything, and fuck competitors, but it's a great community builder.
Yeah.
And we push our general population to sign up. Honestly, we are this year doing more for our general population folks in the open than we're doing for our competitors.
Yeah. Well, we as a gym do a
And we
good job
often
of
do.
separating the two.
Yeah.
But a lot of gyms don't, and a lot of gyms have coaches that are competitors,
Yeah.
or owners that are competitors,
And they want everything and everyone
And
to
when
fall in
those
line with
guys
that.
are discouraged about the open, then how does that trickle down to the community?
Yeah.
That's like a big point that I don't know. We'll see when the open numbers if they get released, signups
And look, we could be wrong. I'm just saying, like, we've been fucking twiddling our thumbs for a long time now, and some of those changes I still don't think have been made clear. Forget about the competitive changes.
Yeah.
We talked about that a ton on this podcast, but the rest of the picture has just not been made clear to us.
So speaking of like leaning on Castro for his insight and his experience with like handling the open and handling the games, I was listening to the Froning and Friends podcast.
Part of the show.
Riveting.
Not friend of the show.
Riveting
No?
podcast.
No, we don't.
So
I don't know that guy. And
Say it.
he was
Friend of the show.
friend of the show. All right, and they were talking about how they were surprised. Like Rich was very surprised that nobody's in these sanctional events has reached out to Castro for like programming and for design and for how to like run these things and make them visually appealing and yada yada yada. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that so like on the biggest stage, and especially when you have the finances and the resources like the CrossFit Games had and the budget like the CrossFit Games had, and you have, you know, a 100-yard field to play on, and you can plan and strategize all year long for 2 heats of elite athletes only, the sky's the limit, and you can really dial in shit really well. And I think that no one has the amount of experience and finesse that Dave Castro does in that sense. But I think that that statement that Rich made, and I heard different parts of that podcast as well, I think that statement that he made, if you isolate that statement, you go, yeah, why aren't more people reaching out to Dave? And why aren't more people, you know, oh, of course they should be, oh, fuck. And I feel like...
How do you know they haven't, first of all?
Well, yeah, we don't know. They very well may have.
We don't know. Maybe,
I'll tell you from
maybe they
experience,
haven't,
I've
CrossFit
heard
doesn't
that
want.
floated out there about things already. That other people had considered it and the reasons why they decided not to. But
You know those reasons why they didn't work?
all I can speak to is like my experience with Wadapalooza. And I'll tell you right now, Wadapalooza is not the CrossFit Games.
Yeah.
I was going to get to that next,
Well,
too.
Wadapalooza was never supposed to be the CrossFit Games. And a lot of Rich's comments are about Wadapalooza and his experience and relationship with Wadapalooza. And if you are an elite athlete and you're expecting the CrossFit Games, don't go to Wadapalooza. Because that's not what it is. That was never its intention. It's supposed to be way more about the... Look, Wadapalooza, it's not a soul thing. And like Wadapalooza, in my opinion, should have never been and should never be that closely associated with a programmer's face or a gym. It's not about... you don't fucking own it. It has nothing to do with CrossFit Soul at all. But it's a really good example of how we run things in the gym. It's like the perfect harmony between elites and general population.
Right, it doesn't favor one group over the other.
If it does favor one group, it's honestly way more 99%. Because if you look at the divisions, like scaled, teens, some of the masters, some of the adaptive folks, intermediate, some of the RX, and then all of those divisions of teams, the majority of those people are way more 99%ers than athletes.
Yeah.
So if it does favor someone, it's that. We put way more thought into adjustments, scales, progressions, time caps, options for all of those people than we did elite. It's honestly pretty fucking easy to do it for elite. Another thing though, we talked about this on the last episode, like programming, when you have a 100-yard field and you have every piece of rogue equipment imaginable on the face of the earth, you have level 1 judges, you have like the gold standard of event and the unlimited amount of resources. You could literally get into a fucking private jet and fly out to Madison and like sketch out how you want the flow of your event to be. You can put 80 athletes in a plane and fly them to another city to execute the event how you want it perfectly. You have unlimited, you have your testing dungeon private warehouse that you can run people through different versions of workouts. Of course you're going to have the fucking best event in the world. That's not what you're going to get out of Wadapalooza, and that's never the fucking intention.
Wadapalooza didn't just start this year for sanctionals.
Right.
It's been there for years.
Yeah.
It's been about fitness and a festival.
We were halfway done with the planning before sanctionals was even announced.
Yeah, and it's been in the same location with the same stages. They can't turn the lanes the opposite way to make them longer because they need to fit 20 lanes.
Yeah.
They can't make the stages bigger.
Make Flagler 3 lanes.
That'd
be great for elite,
We'd
but
be
then it
there
ruins
all
the whole
day.
festival fitness aspect of it.
He made another statement about like saying I don't think he came out and said we, but some of these sanctionals should consider the elites more and their schedules.
Well, I think the other ones do. There's not a lot of sanctioned events that have intermediate and scale and RX.
And if you're Dubai, you can roll the red carpet out.
It's just Wadapalooza and Granite Games, as far as I know, right?
No, the MAC has some general population.
Oh, the MAC does, I
believe. And to be honest with you, I don't know too much about. You know, I've seen the roster I've seen the people who are registered for the Brazil event. I imagine they're going to have some general population folks in some divisions. I don't know. If these events were smart, they would capitalize on the communal aspect.
For events like that, I would understand reaching out to Castro. It lends it instant credibility, and it is catered to elites only. So why not? But for events like Wadapalooza,
makes no sense.
That guy does. I don't know if he does. I don't think he has experience dealing with adaptive athletes.
I mean,
intermediate
from what I understand, he didn't even want to program for masters in teens, and was hands off on some team elements. So, I don't think that. Stands true for an event like Wadapalooza at all.
I also don't think he understands that the sanctional or Wadapalooza, like specifically, isn't the test of fitness, and you're not trying to find the fittest person to go to the CrossFit Games. And I think that's where some of his comments come from. He's expecting it to be like
the games,
the open regionals,
test.
and it's like supposed to be like a test get there.
It's a weird thing, man. It's new. It's the first year. No one's kind of figured out what.
He expects it to be like regionals, that it's like supposed to be this like comprehensive test.
And I understand that because fitness. That's what it's been traditionally. You've had to go through regionals to get there, but this is not that anymore. It's a whole new world. Whole new world, brother.
I know you're trying to set me up, Lou, by saying the whole new world, looking right at me, but I'm not gonna give you an Aladdin joke. You looked at me pretty good. You're like, Hondo? Song reference? But no.
Good job.
Not gonna do it.
No cigar.
Discipline.
When we
not
started,
everything's a joke.
When we started planning and talking about the intention behind Wadapalooza this year, we said 100 times that we are not ever going to be a test of fitness. Now, I will say that was before sanctionals came out. And after sanctionals were announced, and it was announced that Wadapalooza had the privilege to be one of the chosen events, we said, okay, we have to put a little bit more stock into that. And I don't know what's going to happen in the coming years, but what I will say is, like, at least this year, like, that was not a focus. And I don't think it should be the focus.
Look, everyone's going to complain about that at some point. Like, people complain about...
He just kind of, dude, to be honest, like, he fucking sounds like a rookie to me. Like, saying some of those things. And he's got a really big voice, and I don't think some of those... And who the fuck am I? Like... but if Rich Froning's a rookie, who the fuck am I? Like, I ain't shit. I understand.
It's the first year for everyone in this format. You know, like, people complain about the Dubai programming. People are going to complain about the Australia programming. They're going to complain about all of it because none of it is the games. The games will be the games. Yeah. And every other event, it's going to be ran by someone else, and who knows? Like,
look, I heard people saying that the Australia programming was, like, not very complete. I sat down and looked at it. Like, yeah, it wasn't too heavy. Some of the skill tests were a little short. But it kind of looked like a regionals event. Like, people were overly critical because it didn't look enough like the games. Yeah. Well, look, do you know what South Africa did for their first event? They took them out and
That's going on right now, right?
It's going on right now. They took them out.
Oh, Australia.
No, South Africa. They took them out and they did 2 obstacle courses. And there were people...
was at a high school.
There were people complaining about that.
That's very games-like.
I know.
I didn't hear...
You can't fucking, like, have your cake and eat it too, so to speak. People are going to complain about everything.
Like, if there's someone to point the finger at here...
brutal!
It's not the programmers and the people running these events. It's the system that put them into place with no planning and foresight. And just said, here, 6 months, figure it out.
You know, not even 6 months, nothing. So I was listening to... the Talking Elite Fitness show. They talked to the people who set up Australia. They had 11 weeks from the time they got their sanction to set up this to like day one of the event was 11 weeks to set that whole thing up.
Wadapalooza's online challenge had already opened.
Yeah,
all of this was announced. Yeah. We were like, holy fuck, what do we like? Now it's teams of 4, but we've already accepted, you know, hundreds of teams of 3.
Can you imagine setting up Wadapalooza in 11 weeks? From like inception, figuring out you're going to do it to...
Again, they only have elites at Australia, I'm pretty sure.
Right.
So the prospect of that
but still, it's not easy for the people running the events. And I get it, like, being from an elite perspective, like, you're focused on winning the games, getting there, making money. But dude, this is the new system for everyone, man, and it's not going to run like it did before.
And the reason why I say that, like, he sounds like a rookie is because, yo, you know what time it is. You know, like, what this is like. You know what the games is like. You know that, you know, the best plan is to not have a plan that has directly come from HQ. You know that sometimes it's not all strategized. And all of this is, like, it's the same ecosystem. It's an example of what they've always done. It's just more of the same. So look, I'll say this too. Some of these athletes like have this CrossFit Games expectation of an event, and I'll tell you, their behavior at certain events is not CrossFit Games style. Treated briefings and treated cleaning up their space and just keep showing up on time and handling certain judges disputes, etc., etc. You can't like expect the CrossFit Games and not act and treat judges and treat people with respect like you have to at the CrossFit Games, because you're gonna get your ass kicked out at the CrossFit Games. It's kind of like a give and take as well, you know. I know I sound very sensitive about the topic, and I am, because I've seen like how much hard work the volunteers and staff members, dude, 24-hour job put into something like this, you know. So and look, he said some things, you know, like our double dumbbell snatch alternating, that it was
hard to judge.
It was hard to judge, 100%.
Those are valid points.
Yeah,
I wasn't mad at hearing any of that.
I wasn't mad at hearing that either. I think one judge can watch two people do that, but I think because of due to our staging limitations, where we had to place judges for an event like that, was suboptimal. And I do think that we could have done a better job, maybe somehow there, a different exercise selection or a different standard. I'll admit where we dropped the ball, 100%.
But those are all just like things that happen as you grow. Like you can only see something, it didn't work out the way you thought it would.
Why is everyone thinks that now they have carte blanche to speak poorly about these sanctional events? All the while, for years, there's been weird judging standards at regionals. Like, my girlfriend got her ass handed to her on the ring dip event.
We just talked about this
for having a shitty judge at regionals, but you would never find someone like Ben Smith or someone like Rich Froning actually come out and say something, because they were afraid of like the fucking Dark Empire, which was HQ at the time, you know. So
Star Wars reference?
But now when it's like this free reign, free market, everyone's like coming out and like fucking speaking poorly about all these events and all this shit.
There's always been weird shit that's happened at regionals. I mean, last year we had.
We've always said we wanted people to speak up more, and it never happened. Nothing.
You had the air runner thing last year, right? Like,
did anyone say anything about that? Nope.
Not really. No.
No.
There's always been.
Did any coaches come out and fucking, you know, nothing at all. So whatever.
We could have everyone do a Mortal Kombat style test your might, real test of fitness.
Wouldn't that be like the Street Fighter one?
The Street Fighter is the one where you destroy the car, which we could add too.
Or the bricks.
Beat up the car.
Yeah.
Good, man.
The bricks, the car, all different things. So you start with the wood, you go to the metal, diamond, and then you do.
You're gonna turn somebody
team
into a
events
baby?
Are babalities, animalities.
Team events is the car.
Team event is like the whole brick thing.
The whole okay.
Yeah.
How fast can you destroy the brick wall?
Yeah.
Who is your go-to?
Khalifa.
No, bro. I'm only talking about those guys.
Zangief all the way.
Zangief?
You don't want to fucking see me when I'm with Zangief.
Blanca,
Dalsim.
Blanca.
Ooh, Yoga Fire, Yoga Flame.
Yoga Flame.
What about you?
He's a Ken and Ryu guy. Guaranteed all-American Ken and Ryu guy. Yeah.
Two different guys, all the same moves.
What about Mortal Kombat?
Back beat,
There's
brother.
only one answer to this.
You're a Scorpion guy?
Always.
Yeah.
Sub-Zero, bro.
Always.
Same
Sub-Zero's
guy.
tight just because that band is hard.
I was pretty good with Kano.
Oh,
Pretty
you're
good at the Kano.
Anybody play
Pulls out
Killer
the heart,
Instinct?
right?
I played Killer Instinct too, but I don't remember the names of those guys. I remember
how they looked.
Yeah. Hondo's more, I think, like more of Mortal Kombat 2 and 3. Smoke, Cyrax,
What's the
Noob
six-armed
Saiba, Goro.
Shiva?
Shiva was the chick.
The chick.
Goro's the dude.
Yeah.
Goro is the original bad guy from the first one.
So in the first one and old Shang Tsung,
Yeah.
and you couldn't
was
play
Shang
as them.
Tsung in the first
Yeah,
one?
he was a bad guy.
Yeah, he was at the end. You couldn't play with him.
It's a good
You'd
transition.
fight him. You'd fight him.
This is way better.
And Goro.
This is way better. I'm way more into this.
Yeah, dude, this is like a real competition. Those are my first
Shang
competitions.
Tsung was like an old Asian guy in that one,
At
right?
first,
and then
and
Mortal
then he
Kombat
got
2, he's a
younger.
young guy and he would turn into a good guy, right?
Turn it to everyone else.
I
you
don't
could
No, but
turn
that
it.
was his moves were always he could always take people's moves, right?
He would turn into other people.
No, yeah.
He would turn into other.
I don't remember how much of that they did in part 1 though.
I don't think he turned into other people in part 1.
No, he was
I
just.
think
an
he
old
was
guy.
an old guy. But in part 2, he was a young guy. He had like a purple coat and like a long fucking
And he
goatee,
could
long
become-
black hair, and he would like turn into that character, right?
What a
Yeah, I
man.
think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
And then part 3 was sick. What a fucking good game! I want to get
What
it
a
for
great movie.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, when I was a kid, I loved that movie.
I did too. I
Is
remember
it a
going
bad
and watching
movie?
it.
All right,
It
so
is a bad
wait,
movie.
wait. So
Terrible.
what video game had a worse movie?
Street Fighter or
Street
Mortal
Fighter
Kombat?
or Mortal Kombat?
Street Fighter was worse.
Jean-Claude Van Damme was so coked out for that.
He
whole
was coked
movie.
out. The problem with Street Fighter, it was just like too bright. It like looked too Tim Burton-y. It was like,
Mortal
too
Kombat
much.
was for
We got
sure.
Jean-
Mortal
Jean-Claude Van
Kombat
Damme
was darker,
playing
but holy
American.
fuck! I don't remember when, but I saw that in my later years, and it is
It's terrible.
So cheesy.
It's really bad.
Like the lightning for Raiden in his eyes is like so poorly done. It looks like Goosebumps. Like the Goosebumps
In the
show.
dark.
Yeah, it looks like Are You
I
Afraid of the
love
Dark?
Goosebumps.
And Goosebumps was
I'm like-
so
I
good.
mean, it
I'm
looks
not
awesome.
mad at that. I don't know what you're talking about.
Night of the Living Dummy. Okay, what's your favorite Goosebump book?
Oh, I don't remember.
I don't
I know
remember
mine.
the names.
Go.
You go.
Ghost Beach.
I don't
What do you
remember
got?
the names.
I don't
Nothing?
remember any of them, dude.
Nothing. Night of the Living Dummy. Night of the Living Dummy 2.
I remember the covers and shit.
Sure.
Come on, man. Nobody.
Hey, we all don't have a 6-year-old at home.
Dude, my 6-year-old has none of those.
Yeah.
That was me.
We
Jack.
had all of them.
I had.
I mean,
all
I
the
had all of
fucking
them too,
Goosebumps.
but I don't fucking remember them.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, do some research for the next show.
About?
Your favorite
Goosebumps.
Goosebumps book.
Oh, yeah.
That's the book club.
Yes.
Should we start a book club?
Louis Book Club.
All right.
We got Limber with Lou.
Book club starting next podcast.
All right, I like it. I think we're done for today, boys.
Think I
What you got?
covered
What
everything?
you got?
Nothing.
No, I think we're
Nothing?
good. Yeah.
Programs. So,
Yeah.
what do we got what are we working on?
All of them.
What by the time everyone like when they listen to podcasts say by the time you hear this, but like
Who knows when
who knows when you're hearing this?
Yeah, well, we're a week into our phase for powerlifting.
So this is a deload transition week, right? Monday is what, February 4th?
I'm transitioning, guys. I'm in a transitionary phase.
So am
Let
I.
me tell you, for a fucking deload, my legs are sore. as
I feel like
fuck.
this
It's
is a
so is my
reload.
lower back.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna call it a reload.
10 singles at 60 is
Singles weren't
I really enjoy doing
I
that.
love those
Yeah.
singles, and keeping the rest under 2 minutes, I had to stick around. I was doing them like every minute or so. 50%, 60%, 10 singles, that ain't shit. I like it. But all this fucking little fucking wads that you're sneaking in.
The wads that
Yeah,
You
bro.
said that yesterday too.
RDLs, a bunch of holds, max effort this, max effort that.
this many squats here, this many lunges there.
So there's a lot of new movement variety.
Yeah. So we did like a meet prep sort of thing. It was way more specific. A lot of squatting, benching, deadlifting. Now we're taking some time. It's more high volume work. We're changing the variety of exercises.
You know what I call
More
meat
accessory
prep?
movement.
On Sunday when I put
Oh.
together all my meats for the week. Right? I've always thought, whenever you say meat prep, I'm like, oh man, this Sunday I'm going to put together,
Some venison.
about a couple different things. I'm making a pork shoulder.
We should do like
Prep
meat
some
prep
meat
with
and
Lou as he's
My wife
programming
is
with his
making some
pencil.
Meet prep with
oxtail.
Hondo.
And then meat prep with Honda.
Dude, give me some of the oxtail.
He's
Ooh,
in the kitchen.
cannot wait for oxtail.
Ooh, you're making some?
I'm not.
Oh, you're
making some.
prepping it.
My wife's making
But
some.
you're meat prepping.
It's a meat prep.
Can you microwave oxtail? Because if you can, I'm gonna do it too.
Cannot microwave on.
And I'm not making oxtail.
Okay, go
Alright.
on with the meat prep. I gotta.
It's not a meat prep. Alright, so yeah, you guys are sore because it's new movements, a lot of accessory work, higher volume. That's what it's going to look like for the next couple of weeks.
That's our powerlifting program.
Yeah, which Monday, February 4th, perfect day to start.
Perfect.
We've had a lot of new people sign up.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's been a good month.
welcome. Welcome, friends. Team Soul training cycle also started this week.
The open
started
is coming.
started with a deload, kind of.